Again, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to welcome you to the city of Bellevue and to the Meydenbauer Center and to Khenpo Sodargye Rinpoche's 2014 US lecture tour. This center was named after the first pioneer and homesteader, William Meydenbauer, who arrived here in 1869. He left his mark and is remembered. More than 100 years later, it was the turn of many high-tech companies, pioneers in their own field, to leave their mark. Today, we have a new pioneer. And we're honored to have with us the Venerable Khenpo Sodargye Rinpoche as our distinguished speaker. And with your cooperation, will also leave his mark and impact our future community and businesses. So please stand and welcome Khenpo Sodargye Rinpoche. Thank you. So just before we start, just a few interesting facts about our teacher today. Khenpo Sodargye Rinpoche, he is considered one of the most eminent Buddhist masters today and has mentored many highly qualified Buddhist teachers. As an author, he has published many books totaling 10 million words, and he's still writing. And to put that in perspective, Tolstoy's War and Peace has a mere 500,000 words. So 10 million is a lot. Since 2010, Rinpoche has been invited to lecture at many highly recognized academic institutions worldwide. And in 2013, China People magazine named him the most influential religious figure of the year. In China, he's considered a superstar. During this year United States teaching series, Rinpoche has lectured at Yale, Temple and Stanford University, and the University of California at Berkeley, just to name a few. In the audience today, we have many top managers and professionals from Amazon, Microsoft, Google, T-Mobile, Boeing, and that's just a few. And to all of you, thank you for coming. And finally, I wish to introduce to you Conrad Lee. Mr. Lee has been a member of the Bellevue City Council for the past 20 years. Mr. Lee was born in China. He's a former Boeing engineer and former mayor of Bellevue. So Mr. Lee, please come up and speak.
Microphone?
Yeah, why not? Thank you.
Well, Your Holiness, and welcome to Bellevue, everyone. Thank you. On behalf of the City of Bellevue, we are very honored to have His Holiness to come to visit us. For myself especially, we are very blessed. I'm very, very happy. I myself is a Christian, but I believe that we all believe in the same supreme being. And when he talked about the lamp, and I'm very happy that he's traveling throughout the world to let people know about the truth, the lamp. In Christianity, you read in the Bibles, you do not want to hide your lamp under the table. You want to have the lamp on top of the table so everybody in the world can see the truth. And so I think we are very, very happy that he has taken the time to carry his wisdom throughout the world, has traveled through Europe, United States, and we have the honor to have him here with us in the Seattle region, especially in the city of Bellevue. We look forward to His Holiness to come and visit us often, and because I hope that He'll find us His second home, and we will welcome His wisdom to help us all grow, to embrace the truth that He's all about. So thank you again, and welcome to our great city. Welcome to the United States. Thank you.
Thank you, Conrad. The topic of Rinpoche's talk today is Buddhist philosophy and modern business management. It is increasingly recognized that high IQ as well as high emotional intelligence are needed for successful business management. Without a sharp brain, leaders will render their firms non-creative. Without self-awareness and compassion, leaders may falter under pressure and fail to build a harmonious working environment. Training programs that combine the Western understanding of leadership and the spiritual wisdom and compassion of the East is the essence of Buddhist philosophy, makes for a perfect marriage. Harmonious, innovative, and an enterprising spirit, inclusive of both managers and employees. And just want to let you know, after Rinpoche has finished his lecture, there'll be plenty of time to ask him questions. Okay? So I invite you all to stand and join with me to welcome Khenpo Sodargye Rinpoche.
First, I want to sincerely and wholeheartedly express my gratitude and appreciation to the chairman, and also our organizing and co-organizing institutions for providing such a wonderful karmic connection and opportunity. I think that our gathering here together today, all of us, is actually what Buddhism often refers to as the coming together of causes and conditions. From my personal perspective, as you may know, I just arrived here from the Bay Area just yesterday. This is also, in fact, a place where many young people with cutting-edge scientific knowledge and some scientists currently live. As a traditional Buddhist practitioner, simply having this kind of dialogue today, I consider it a wonderful learning opportunity. For many years, I dedicated myself to living and studying in traditional Buddhist monasteries, and then slowly wandered through quite many of various cities and towns. Many of you might think that for modern people in the West, where science is highly advanced, ancient monastery management and corporate management may not necessarily be the same and might even seem contradictory. But in my view, perhaps some ancient monastery management methods in particular can give advice for enterprise management, for effective modern corporate management in today's business environment as well. Sometimes I think our monastery management methods have similarities with modern enterprises. Though you might not necessarily agree with this viewpoint, regardless, we do have a saying: there are 1,000-year monasteries, but no 1,000-year companies. There are monks who can't be driven away, but it's much more common to have employees who can't be retained. From this perspective, I think our monasteries with a unified tradition have many branches and centers spread throughout the world. It's just like the chain stores of modern enterprises, exactly the same. In traditional culture and traditional organizations, what they develop is not the external material things we see today, including things like electronic products, but what they provide to humanity is spiritual nourishment, spiritual products. Actually, as human beings living in this world, we also need all kinds of various external material conditions. And at the same time, we need to adjust our internal emotions, as well as our inner thoughts. In other words, nourishment for the soul. I know that among those present here today, there are many extremely wise, highly intelligent, and very capable people with ideas from all kinds of different fields and areas. Moreover, many of the world's technological advances are also in the hands of those present here, including well-known companies such as Microsoft, Google, Boeing, and others. Therefore, from the level of worldly wisdom you research, you should be among those who currently mastering very advanced concepts in our global world today. But I'm also concerned that no matter how superior worldly wisdom becomes, if we happen to lack traditional religious faith or concepts, perhaps when you use your intelligence all day long, but turn to search for your own heart, you might find it blank. Perhaps very simple things like relationships with colleagues, relationships with family members, including the relationship between your body and mind. When you need to master these, might some people perhaps have blind spots in this area? I know many really very intelligent people who are sometimes very successful in inventing knowledge or in entrepreneurship, but in small matters of human relations and social interaction, or when they generate afflictions and negative emotions, they find it very difficult to deal with. In such situations, they seem to feel they are very vulnerable people. Because our world is sometimes very strange, whether it's external material things or internal emotions, including your relationships with colleagues, family relationships, and so on. All these can suddenly change at any moment, in an instant. It's a world that changes very rapidly. In this respect, we sometimes might need traditional approaches, or perhaps some of your current research, to see if they can solve these rather urgent issues. Speaking of corporate management, Buddhist philosophy can actually be somewhat relevant as well. Let me share a bit with you all. In Mahayana Buddhism, there are 4 means of attraction. And these 4 means of attraction, if modern business entrepreneurs and innovators could truly master them in their daily business endeavors, whether it's simply for assisting with product development or for managing employees, or in your everyday life and in your regular work, they will bring certain benefits. The first one is generosity as a means of attraction. As Mahayana Buddhism teaches, for any organization or group, there needs to be material generosity. If you don't practice material generosity and are very stingy, then people probably won't gather around you. To have cohesion and work effectiveness, you must really treat them well financially. I know many companies where some bosses are particularly stingy. Under such stinginess, the people below are, after all, living beings in this world. At this time, you need to care about their profits and care about their welfare conditions. In this situation, as a business manager, for example, we should first think less about ourselves and think more about our employees around us, including related customers and individuals, such as people you're directly involved with. First, give to them unconditionally, as if making offerings to them. In this situation, people in this world are not very foolish. When they receive real benefits, they will think in return. From this perspective, this first point, the Mahayana practice of generosity and attracting others, whether in large enterprises or small ones, in any company, in any collective, it should be an indispensable element. The second is loving speech as a means of attraction. Loving speech attraction. We are in any group or organization, no matter how big or small, we need verbal communication, because language is the important bridge in human relationships. If we don't use proper good language, it's very possible that your most beloved, most important person will leave you in a short time. So the ancients generally said, it is often believed that one gentle, loving word spoken with care is like the warmth of spring. If it's a harsh word, it will bring you a deep, chilling coldness, like the depths of winter, bringing you a special kind of suffering. So I see many companies out there, including leaders and project managers, and some interpersonal relationships, such as when they need to be harmonized, you must know how to use very skillful and appropriate language. If you don't use good language, even interpersonal relationships can be broken very easily and built very easily. Wise people will indeed speak when they should speak. Truly wise people simply won't speak when they know they really shouldn't speak. And the language they use should be very appropriate to the person they're addressing or the message they're really conveying. So In Buddhism, as you may know, we have specific linguistic knowledge. This linguistic knowledge, many modern young people lack because in universities, there may be less interpersonal communication, and many people are rather solitary, self-focused, and confident. But without experience, without this communication ability, I think loving speech attraction is truly very much needed. And this aspect needs to be mastered. The third is called beneficial action. What is beneficial action? As a manager in your role, you should present yourself as a truly very reasonable and indeed righteous role model. Otherwise, if you want to manage others but don't maintain dignity yourself, it's very difficult for such a person to manage others. Therefore, the ancients had a saying, teaching by example is more important than teaching by words. For example, as a monastic, if I want to manage the monastic community under me, at the very least, I must meet the standard in my own words and actions. I see some managers nowadays, including some managers, some CEOs, and some leaders, who are not bound by any constraints themselves and do whatever they want, but their demands are extremely high for their employees and all the members of staff below them, such as assistants or support staff. Such excessive demands are simply unreasonable. In any management situation, really, you must also communicate well with the people under you, with colleagues beside you, and with superiors above you. You should learn to have good communication. This kind of communication is a communication from the heart. What is missing in our world today, right now? We lack a kind of trust. We lack a kind of interpersonal connection between people. You could say it is a kind of mutual behavioral exchange. So we often see some people who think of themselves as leaders, but in reality, many people are observing you. You are the one being observed. Even the smallest behaviors in your words and actions, when they're not quite appropriate, others immediately notice. They may not dare to point it out, but actually in this regard, especially as leaders, setting an example is extremely important. This is called beneficial action. Among the four methods of attraction, the last one is beneficial action. Beneficial action means benefiting others. That is to say, essentially, no matter what kind of work we do, what products we make, what technology we develop, or anything at all, in any way whatsoever, it's best to establish it on the foundation of benefiting others. Because without altruism, with selfishness, or with the mind of intentionally harming others, actually at a certain point, we harm ourselves. We often say that benefiting others is benefiting oneself, but benefiting oneself doesn't necessarily benefit others. According to Buddhism, if we summarize all Mahayana teachings, we can say it's these two words, benefiting others. As long as we can help others, Buddhist teachings can completely explain clearly. Similarly, I know that now, as we all realize in our high-tech 21st century, many people might think that self-promotion and self-advocacy are both very important aspects, very essential. Many advanced countries acknowledge that self-confidence is very important. But what we want to say is that altruism and self-confidence don't contradict each other. The true value of self-realization actually lies in helping those around us, in helping others. I believe this is absolutely the most meaningful value in life. Some people might think that altruism may be important, but self-interest is even more important, especially in modern economics. The enduring spirit of Adam Smith's influential work, The Wealth of Nations, should be about self-innovation and self-development. Within this kind of concept, if we unconditionally benefit others, how do I make money? How do I effectively and clearly demonstrate my superior level of competitiveness in a way that truly stands out? In the development of a competitive market economy, how do I win? So some people might feel that the self is more important. I'm not an economics student, nor am I a professional in this field. My specialty is Buddhist studies. But I'm also very concerned about people's current mindset and pay close attention to the aspects of material life, such as financial stability, comfort, and access to resources, which have become increasingly important and are matters of great concern for many people in today's society. At this point, we have to admit that, indeed, Western economist Adam Smith's in the early stages of capitalist economic development, that is, the thinking of classical economic development, has had a tremendous impact on the entire world. From today's perspective, probably in our world since ancient times, the science and technology we now possess should be at its most advanced. The material wealth we now possess, it should be said that since ancient times, the standard of living for people in the world is also at its highest point. Our people in our world today, living in their happiest and most joyful era, have our hearts and minds, along with material progress, also reached the highest level of joy and happiness? Not necessarily. You can observe this for yourself. Sometimes we might even be in a state of insecurity, uncertainty, or panic, or facing various potential threats during this period. So I think that we humans really don't necessarily find that science, technology, or economic development alone can bring us true, everlasting, and unchanging joy and happiness. In fact, Western philosophy, including Adam Smith, what he valued most in his lifetime should be said to be the theory of moral sentiments. When he started writing, it was this work he focused on. And as he neared the end of his life, he meticulously revised and carefully edited it a total of 6 times throughout the entirety of his life. Even when he was near the end of his life, he still placed importance on this work. But I have met many economists before, including current managers who are now serving as leaders of high-tech companies, who only care about the wealth of nations and pay no attention to the theory of moral sentiments. From just my personal perspective as an observer, the theory of moral sentiments discusses some basic foundations of economic development, namely our morality, our altruistic heart, our compassion, benevolence, justice, and so on. With such a foundation, humans are then able to engage in trade and transactions with one another, and ultimately we all benefit mutually. But nowadays, sometimes with the explosive development of high technology, the economy develops explosively and rapidly, especially in recent years. We also inevitably bring about some forms of indirect harm, of varying and differing degrees, to many trusted partners, valued customers, and even competitors. So in terms of our altruistic conscience, we sometimes face condemnation. I sincerely hope that many of our scientific workers, while conducting research, will care about our environment. For all products that are harmful to our environment, try to minimize their research and development in their respective fields as much as possible. Also care about the health of human bodies and minds. Anything that is detrimental to human mental and physical health, no matter what kind of technology it is, it may not necessarily be worth pursuing. At the same time, we should care about the entire globe, including air, resources, and so on. All of you present are actually people of the 21st century, but we humans must also consider the 22nd and 23rd centuries and the descendants of future generations for many years to come, ensuring their legacy endures. Therefore, many of our scientific workers should also care about all living beings beyond ourselves. And we should also care about future generations beyond the present moment. Each person's ability and wisdom are limited, but while we're alive, right now, in this moment, we should try our best to help those around us. This is not just something we say, but from the heart. Can we achieve this in our actual actions? Our Buddhist concept is that as long as they are people or sentient living beings, all of them, as long as others need help, I will try my best to help. Each of us should also, even in a short period of time, do small things. Can we think of helping others? Can we generate this mind? Perhaps many of us, from birth up until today, have never really thought of helping others, but that's probably not true. In The Theory of Moral Sentiments, I remember this sentence: although we humans are selfish, when we see others happy, sometimes we really feel that it's truly worthwhile. And even without any analogy or example, when we see others suffering, we ourselves become sad. This is not only true for kind people or noble people in particular. They might just be more sensitive, and in some cases obvious to different degrees. Actually, any person, when seeing others suffer, will feel from the heart a kind of truly unbearable pain. Even some individuals who are considered criminals, including butchers, thugs, and others of that sort, will also generate such feelings. So from their spirit, from their thoughts, each of us has compassion. Perhaps the mindset of truly wanting to help others, the words to really help others, the actions to help others. Some individuals might see this as unimportant, but for me, I think among all knowledge and learning in the world, altruism is the most important. Perhaps many of us like to get to know our friends and family and help them, but when it comes to complete strangers, just like today, we're all sitting together, perhaps not knowing each other. In such a group, if the person next to you encounters difficulties, would you help them? I have a small suggestion. Could you cross your hands like this, please? And gently hold the hands of the people beside you and say to both sides, when I have the opportunity in the future, I will definitely help you. Say this to each other sincerely from the heart. That didn't meet my requirements just now. Some of you were rather reluctant. Can you be more sincere? If you truly encounter difficulties, I will help you. Hold others' hands tightly and do it once more. Good, the middle section is not bad. The sides are somewhat, I came here from far away and I made such a small request. Yet some individuals on the sides still don't want to help others. They're not even willing to pretend on the surface. Never mind, America is a place that greatly emphasizes freedom. Very good. What I just said is that in the future, each of us, no matter how high your wisdom or how much your economic income, no matter how rich your education and experience are, sometimes we really do need help from the people around us for support. Concern for the surrounding world is indispensable. So I often think that having wisdom is important, but more importantly, character and morality are even more important. Now, some students currently graduate from universities are quite good in terms of their intelligence. But in our schools, what is mainly and typically taught are some, perhaps just a bit more science and knowledge, but truly how to be a person, how to handle affairs, how to solve problems, how to be confident and strong when facing suffering. All these kinds of principles. America likes this too. I see other countries in the world are also like this. So many schools only train technical skills, but about moral character, actually. When we enter society and the marketplace, being human also needs training. Personally speaking, I have some opinions about certain people or individuals who are present on the sides. Never mind, never mind. It's okay, really, never mind. Now, at this moment, with regard to this enterprise, all of you people present here, I just want to make another suggestion. Although life might be brilliant and happy right now, we constantly need to have what Buddhism calls impermanence. This concept of impermanence is extremely important. It is said that the Buddha, as recorded in the Agama Sutras, whether past, future, or present, whether internal or external, whether coarse or subtle, whether beautiful or ugly, whether far or near, all of this is impermanent. This statement has had a truly great impact on me. Why is that? Whether we are leaders, team members, or employees, or ordinary people living happily too, we might possibly suffer greatly tomorrow. Everything can change in just a single instant. For example, a leader might trust someone deeply, but that person could leave at any moment. An employee might, for example, want to stay at the company. But when the time comes, if your skills or work are inadequate, some leaders can be ruthless. They'll fire you in a day. At that point, your very survival becomes questionable. During the financial crisis, thousands of people were laid off from companies in a single day. We constantly live under serious threats to our survival and livelihood. For me, contemplating impermanence has been extremely helpful in life. I often see very, very successful people who haven't cultivated an understanding of impermanence, so they end up choosing tragic paths, even many choosing suicide. If they had contemplated impermanence, they wouldn't face such ends. Especially for young people, I especially hope you maintain a constant ongoing awareness of impermanence, because all phenomena, both internal and external, are constantly changing, including your youth. Many people wish their youth could last forever, but this is impossible. With time, wrinkles will inevitably multiply on your face. As wrinkles increase, your inner wounds also deepen, but there is really nothing we can do about it. In time, your youth will inevitably change. Sometimes we see certain things that people around us wish they had. But after some time, it may not be the same. Look at leaders and wealthy individuals who are highly respected and admired by thousands around the world, including celebrities. In a short time, some end up in prison, some suddenly leave this world, and others remain, but they suffer greatly. Therefore, in this world, when conditions come together, anything can arise. When conditions fall apart, any situation can occur. Buddhism analyzes this very thoroughly. So sometimes we really need good plans in our lives and set worthwhile goals and ideals. These are necessary for human beings. We can't be complete pessimists. We need optimism as well. But at the same time, we must consider our work-life relationships and many other aspects. How will you face impermanence when it arises? If you have this mental preparation in advance, when something truly unexpected happens in your own life, actually, you'll have good remedies and solutions. Our attitude toward life should be positive and actively striving to successfully, consistently, and effectively achieve our goals. But at the same time, if you truly don't achieve your goals for whatever reason, and instead just encounter failure along the way, you must have a strong heart. You can't stay down forever. I've seen that, especially in Australia. Many young children are taught to stand up by themselves when they fall. Parents won't help them up. Everyone receives training and preparation to stand up on their own. I think this approach is very good. Each of us cannot depend on others for our happiness. My happiness must depend on my partner, my leaders, or others. Each person should build their own happiness. This happiness should be determined from within, including your parents. Educating children's inner strength from a young age is very important. Now, why is it that America's economy and science have become world leading, but the suicide rate is extremely high? According to current statistics, it far exceeds some other causes, including cancer, various other contributing factors, and fatalities resulting from traffic accidents. When our spiritual education fails to keep up, humanity reaches a very frightening state. So, what we're discussing today is modern corporate management. My suggestion is, inner management is very important. In fact, among all forms of management, inner management is the highest form of management. We should first manage our own minds and then manage others. And if each person truly develops the habit of self-reflection, perhaps in any situation, everyone would be very happy. This kind of mind management, one method is meditation. Now, in various universities and enterprises, there are excellent methods from Tibetan Buddhism, from Japan, from India, from various places, including Thailand, different meditation methods. I hope many of us will regularly use meditation to calm our minds. When the mind is calm, all emotions, including anger and jealousy, hatred, suffering, afflictions, and so on, all of these negative emotions and experiences all gather into one nature of mind. Finally, within this nature of mind, even these negative emotions cannot be found at all because the essence of our mind is emptiness. So within this emptiness, we cannot find any negative emotions at all. Regularly familiarizing ourselves with this state is actually very good for improving work efficiency. Just as our bodies, from time to time, often need massage and care, taking various vitamins, nutritional supplements, and so on. Similarly, our now very exhausted minds, especially those who work on computers every day with various emotional struggles, these young people, our minds need relaxation, slowness, and tranquility. After this, one's lifespan will also be extended, and ideally, one's emotions should gradually become very positive. This is simply a method of inner adjustment. In this current era, I also find we really need a medicine of tranquility. Otherwise, life is too restless and the pressure is too great. No matter what method, if our minds are truly very strong, then in absolutely any kind of environment, living in any possible way, we should live happily and joyfully. If we haven't adjusted our minds well, even if you live in a very special or materially excellent and genuinely favorable conditions, you won't necessarily be happy. There's another method. In the past, India's approach was different. It should have been the first prime minister after India's independence, Nehru. While he was in prison, someone sent him a statue of the Buddha. This Buddha statue, throughout his later life, became an incredibly important and cherished companion to him. He felt that relying on this Buddha statue brought him truly tremendous strength, including when he felt dejected, relying on it, focusing on it. Just like today, looking at this Manjushri statue, it's a symbol of wisdom. The Buddha statue is also an image that makes our minds completely calm, peaceful, and pure. Whether you have faith or not, relying on it indeed has a pacifying effect on your mind. Therefore, in our daily lives, each and every day, if you are a Buddhist or have interest in Buddhism, it's generally best to always keep Buddha images on your person or in your car. This is very effective, just like precious gems on our bodies can effectively help to ward off evil influences and harmful toxins. We ordinary people may not be able to imagine it, but indeed it has its effects. Many Christian friends I know quite often also tell me they often have a cross, whether they wear it on themselves or keep it in their car, which also serves a protective function. I believe every religion has its profound meaning in its own way. So sometimes we might look at things from a scientific perspective. Maybe we can see clearly. Maybe there are things we can't see clearly, where secret karmic connections exist. Therefore, I think many young people now, people of this modern, scientifically advanced era, but I hope that in your generation's hands, with care and responsibility, and with hope, the traditional culture of each individual nation continues to be passed down to you. If in your generation's hands, the significant value of traditional culture continuing until today is lost, and you only master modern scientific knowledge, won't we become sinners of history? If we briefly summarize today's lecture, I think scientific management is important now, but inner management, as practiced in the past, is even more important. I find that caring for ourselves and developing our economic society is also, without a doubt, extremely important, indeed. But more importantly, we must truly care for our society's well-being as a whole, and vulnerable groups and poor people. Sometimes we need material wealth, but more importantly, rich spiritual and inner wealth may, in fact, be more important. That's all.